So all in all, Ben Affleck tends to be a more low-key person compared to J.Lo, minus them both working in the public eye, obviously. So Jennifer recently launched a new album, This Is Me Now, with a self-financed $20 million multimedia campaign. Then you've also got the experimental film, This Is Me Now, a love story, all about the rekindling of her romance with Ben. And then there was the Prime documentary, The Greatest Love Story Never Told, which is about the making of the record and the film. If this is sounding repetitive and excessive, it is. So when Ben pops up in the documentary, it's to express concern that his private love story is becoming used for something he didn't particularly want. So this whole media spectacle is actually named after a scrapbook that Ben gifted Jennifer for Christmas, like ages ago, stacked with every letter and email they'd written to each other over the last 20 years. Now Jennifer showed the book to her producers and songwriters on the first day of making this new album, but she did it without asking or telling Ben. She's like, oh, it was just like our Bible, we left it in the studio. Now, this revelation comes within the first 5 minutes of the doc. And right out of the gate, Ben is not shy about his discomfort. He is absolutely shocked that Jennifer would share something so personal with her collaborators. And now, of course, with the whole wide world, it's quite clear that J.Lo and Ben are like kind of blended family. So one thing that's cute is that J.Lo and Ben are kind of blended family goals. They've got their ex-spouses that are happy, and it also seems like they're kind of antsy about welcoming another member to the family. Yeah, apparently they want a kid together. Now, well, J.Lo has repeated this sentiment for quite some time. Soon after she and Ben got together, well, sure, some insiders claim that she's got baby fever. She's talking about it nonstop. But then also, she's just trying to convince Ben to welcome this baby via surrogacy. And recently, apparently, she got him to cave in. Somebody was like, yeah, she nagged him until he went along with it. Which, not a good move. A baby isn't an accessory. It's a commitment and not something you should be nagged into doing. And it's not going to save your marriage. During their last outing together, the pair appeared super strained, with neither of them cracking a smile as they grabbed lunch together. They've appeared tense during a lot of their previous outings, including when they were embroiled in quite a heated discussion during their St. Bart's getaway. Just months earlier than this, back in September, Jen was seen looking very, very tense as she sat in the passenger seat of a car near Ben as they drove around LA. I'm all for a pap walk, but look happy, guys. They also raised eyebrows when they were seen attending the premiere of The Mother. In a very awkward moment while posing on the red carpet, Jen had a big frown on her face, and she was gesturing to Ben, and he looked angry. Yes, a lip reader did clarify that it wasn't an argument, but super awkward. After this, they soon reverted to Hollywood mode. They had these big grins, big kisses, but it's giving cover up. So when you look at J.Lo, most of her relationships, if not all of them, have always been in the spotlight. She's been in all these high-profile relationships, and they've made headlines all over the world. So let's pick one, 2017, when she was dating former New York Yankee Alex Rodriguez. Now, rumors spread that she would only consider marrying him if he agreed to a list of demands. What were these? Well, you can't talk to any woman under 40, which, why? Ew. Also, J.Lo loved his physique and wanted to guarantee that he won't let himself go once they get married. Now, we know those two didn't work out. She's with Ben, but what rules did Ben have to agree to get back to this relationship? Because if she had that much control over her previous relationships, I don't think she's giving it up anytime soon. And that's not it. So lately, multiple reports claim Ben and Jen are living apart, which has been confirmed by multiple sources and in multiple outlets. First off, TMZ, May 16th, they're Ben's been staying at a Brentwood home all by himself. And then J.Lo was seen house hunting in Beverly Hills without Ben and set with some gal pals, which feels very obvious and spiteful. Now, one insider said he's focusing on his work and his kids, but he's already moved out. They'll likely have to sell the dream house they spent 2 years searching for. Now, it's only been a year since these guys bought this $60 million mansion. It's called an estate. That's how big this place is. So if J.Lo is just house hunting on her own, red flag. So just recently, J.Lo was asked point blank about the truth behind the divorce rumors. This was during a press conference for Atlas, her new Netflix movie. And after briefly laughing it off, she leaned in and was like, you know better than that. Completely dodging the question. But it's we want to know. Her co-star, Simu Liu, also scolded the question, saying into the mic, come on, don't come in here with that. Which prompted not one, but a couple of double looks from folks online who think there might be more to that duo. Lopez was also solo for her co-chairing duties at the Met Gala, with a lot of folks surprised that Ben would skip such a huge event. Co-hosting the Met Gala is a huge deal. Ben is said to have been working, he's too busy. But then he was on his own while appearing at the roast of Tom Brady, which was also May 5th, the night before the Met Gala. So you're too busy, but you're doing other social things? What did Jen tell him to do? A March 19th post about red flags from relationship coach Lena Marsak went viral after it was revealed that J.Lo had pressed like. The post in question read, "You cannot build a healthy relationship with somebody who lacks integrity and emotional safety, doesn't respect your time, doesn't think it's important to call or text back in a respectable time frame, lacks effective communication skills, and what was the other thing? Oh right, doesn't know who they are or what they want." Which seems like she's kind of subtweeting that. The caption added, "You can't build a relationship with someone who is disconnected from themselves. We can't expect someone to see us when we can't even see them. Getting in a relationship is the easy part. Nurturing and fostering it is a different story. After all, love is not a feeling, it's an action." Which is trying to tell us something? Now, if you didn't know, because I've already mentioned it a lot today, that whole documentary on Prime, giving the behind-the-scenes look into the new album and the movie. So some of the fans who watched it were like, Jen, we're gonna fact check you. You lied a little bit. In one scene, she poses in front of the mirror of her personal gym. She's shaking out her hair and she's like, "Oh, I like taking my hair out like this. It reminds me like when I was 16 in the Bronx, running up and down the block. Crazy little girl who used to be effing wild and no limits. All dreams." Yeah, cute in theory. However, TikTok user Photos by Angela slammed the star in a series of videos because she claimed to have gone to the same Catholic high school as Jennifer and accused her of lying about her experience living in the Bronx. She was like, "We both attended an all-girls high school in an Irish and Italian neighborhood, so you weren't running up and down the block." And this isn't the only lie she's been exposed for lately. She's long been accused of not actually singing on her albums, and singer Natasha Ramos took to TikTok to shed light on that. Now, Natasha, who has a voice very similar to Jennifer's, was hired to sing the demo of Jenny from the Block. The production team liked her voice so much that they asked her to record 5 more songs for the album. Now, Natasha did receive $3,500 and a backup singer's credit. However, as she claims, and as the original demo demonstrates, it's really only her voice in the final track. And not only in the choruses, it's her laugh and her yelling, "From the Bronx." J.Lo only sings in the verse. So, how is this relevant? Well, if these are just the lies that J.Lo tells the general public, what lies does she tell her husband? That's gonna cause badness in a marriage. Also, J.Lo has a habit of being quite a diva. When have you heard Ben making crazy demands for press tours or similar situations? An old interview from J.Lo recently resurfaced, and she's got a lot to say, and none of it's good. Would you like an example? Well, here's what she had to say about 2 major stars at the time, starting with Gwyneth Paltrow. "Tell me what she's been in. I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work." Okay, what about what she had to say about Madonna? "Do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do. So I'm harder on people when they say, 'Oh, I can do that. I can act.' I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft." Now, the funny thing about this is J.Lo said this after only having Selena and Anaconda under her belt for her acting career, which, that's embarrassing. So I'm glad people are calling her out for this. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if you're bad-mouthing people, what are you saying behind closed doors? What are you saying to your husband? And finally for today, another insider source claimed they've known Ben for more than 10 years, and everything is a fight for him and Jen. The only satisfaction he gets in life is overcoming when the odds are stacked against him. Now that they're reunited, the ego battle between Ben and Jennifer was always on full display, and is only really eclipsed by the obvious passion and respect they have for one another. But there has to be an easier path, and you have to ask why they want their marriage to be this way in the first place. I'm guessing for publicity? And in Jen's case, to promote her new work based on their love story. But I have a feeling the moment this whole tour cycle ends, so will the marriage, publicly, because it ain't looking great.
Now starting off, we have Ben's cheating past. Not even a month after their 10-year wedding anniversary, Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck announced that they were getting a divorce. This came as a surprise to a lot of people, as throughout their marriage, they seemingly had a very healthy relationship. Now it turns out that was not the case for as long as we thought. When the pair did divorce, there were rumors going around that Ben had formed a relationship with their children's nanny. Now of course he denied these rumors, with a rep for Ben saying that the story was complete garbage and full of lies. However, later in a conversation with Vanity Fair, Jennifer Garner confirmed that yes, Ben had an affair with their nanny. She said that there were lots of reasons for their split, but this was definitely not something you can ignore. She then went on to say, "It's not great for your kids for a nanny to disappear from their lives. I've had to have conversations with my children about the meaning of a scandal," she said. Now in that same interview, the actress said, "No one needs to hate him for me. me, I don't hate him. Certainly we don't have to beat the guy up. Don't worry, my eyes were wide open during the marriage. Next is Jen wanting a baby. Now, a source exclusively told Life in Style that J.Lo has been trying to persuade Ben to have a baby via surrogate and claims that she finally got him to cave in. The source says Jennifer has become passionate about getting yet another second chance, having a baby with Ben. She nagged him until he went along with it, added the source. Ben was completely happy with the blended family they already have, but he loves kids, that's why he agreed to having another. At the end of the day, he wants Jennifer to be happy. But I mean, it doesn't really feel like he wants another kid. Now, Ben has 3 children from his previous marriage, while Jen has 2. Now, they're allegedly in the planning stage, with Jen looking at surrogates, but with the rumors of a divorce and the pair currently living apart for the time being, adding another kid into the equation doesn't sound like a good idea at all. Then there's Ben's addiction. Ben has been open about his addiction to alcohol. He first checked into a rehab facility in 2001, completing a 30-day residential rehabilitation program for alcohol abuse. He then sought treatment for alcoholism on several occasions in the years since, getting professional help in 2008, 2017, and again in 2018 after his divorce from Jennifer Garner was finalized. Now, he briefly relapsed in 2019, but said he wouldn't let it derail him, admitting it happens, it's a slip. Now, that same year, the actor acknowledged that being an alcoholic is something that he deals with on a daily basis, saying on the Today Show, "It doesn't have to subsume my whole identity and be everything, but it's something that you have to work at." Now, since Ben's addiction has played out so publicly, it's become unfortunately common for fans to speculate about his health, particularly after he married Jennifer Lopez. For example, a video clip of Jennifer and Ben having a seemingly tense conversation at the premiere for her movie Shotgun Wedding went viral in January after fans suspected the pair were arguing over Ben's drinking. Now that things appear to be rocky between the two, maybe Ben has relapsed again. Now let's talk about Jen exposing their relationship. Ben was taken aback when Jen shared with songwriters the private letters that he wrote to her to serve as an inspiration for her upcoming album, This Is Me Now. Per Variety, in a preview for her forthcoming Amazon Prime documentary, The Greatest Love Story Never Told, Jen had invited musicians to their home and gave them access to Ben's love letters. Now, ironically, Ben walked in at that very moment and was surprised to see the letters being passed around. "I did really find the beauty and the poetry and the irony in the fact that it's the greatest love story never told," he said to the camera. "If you're making a record about it, that seems kinda like telling it." Now, reacting to the way J.Lo shared Ben's private letters, several Twitter users admitted that they found it invasive. Sharing personal love letters with a bunch of people without the writer's permission seems like a very weird thing to do, one person wrote. "Literally cannot imagine sharing love letters with strangers, this is so invasive," another user said. "When you write something deeply intimate to your partner that comes from a very vulnerable place, one of the worst things a partner can do is show these to others," someone tweeted. Another one said, "It's truly inconsiderate to release it without telling him, especially considering he was probably being vulnerable," another user agreed. And I gotta say, I think it was a bad move on Jen's part. On to relationship rules. Jennifer's relationships are often in the spotlight, as she's been in several high-profile relationships that made headlines all over the world. From 2004 to 2011, she was married to Mark Anthony, and they had twins together. In 2017, she made headlines again when she broke the news that she was dating former New York Yankee Alex Rodriguez. Now, rumors spread that J.Lo would only consider marrying A-Rod if he agreed to a list of demands. Reportedly, he'd not be allowed to talk to any woman under the age of 40, which is just super controlling and gross. And additionally, J.Lo loved his physique and wanted a guarantee that he wouldn't let himself go once they got married. Now, none of these rumors have actually been confirmed, but it does seem pretty realistic to me. Now, we know that Jen and A-Rod didn't work out as she's now married to Ben, but I'm sure she has rules for him too, which is just unfortunate. Then there's the fact that Jen is a diva. Now, according to several of J.Lo's former staff members, Jennifer earned herself the nickname Pay Low because she paid her staff around 50% less than they could make elsewhere. Now, this rumor has been going on for years. As you see, way back in 2003, Jennifer was spotted in Vegas with her then boyfriend, Ben Affleck. Now, the pair had a big win, and Ben decided to drop a $2,000 tip to the dealer, but before he could scoop up the generous award, J.Lo snatched up the cash and swiped it for $200 instead. Now, Jennifer's reason for paying her staff so little: she had to work hard to earn her money, so should everyone else. Now, this is just so embarrassing for her. If she had to work hard to earn her money, shouldn't she try to help make it easier for others? Because she knows how hard hard it is. She just seems so entitled, and it's just gross. Moving on to Ben not liking the spotlight. Now, at a separate point in Jennifer's documentary about her album, Ben discusses the subject of privacy more broadly when talking about his and Jen's relationship, which was rekindled in 2021, almost 2 decades after they called off their 2002 engagement. He said, "Things that are private, I always felt are sacred and special because in part they're private." He added, "When Jen and I broke up before," he said, while looking back at the end of their engagement in 2003, "the catalyst for that was this massive amount of scrutiny around our private life." However, he did suggest that the couple didn't necessarily share the same viewpoints when it came to having a romance in the public eye. "I had a very firm sense of boundaries initially around the press, while Jen, I don't think, objected to it the way I did," the star continued, "and I very much did object to it." Now we have J-Lo's failing tour. So we all know that J-Lo released an album called This Is Me Now, and she made a movie for it, and then a documentary for it. Now, it debuted at a disappointing number 38 on the Billboard 200, but despite this, J-Lo decided that she would go on tour with this album. Now, J-Lo first announced this tour in the middle of February, initially as This Is the Me Now tour. A week later, another 3 shows were added, but however, in mid-March, several tour dates were quietly removed without explanation. Then, the tour's name had been changed from This Is Me Now to This Is Me Live, The Greatest Hits. So instead of it being a tour for that specific album, she's having one of her own era's tours. Now, it's been cited that low ticket sales is a possible reason for emphasizing J-Lo's back catalog. Us Weekly reported that Jen was disappointed in the tour's lackluster ticket sales, but remained proud of the new projects. Jennifer is very focused on her latest project and doesn't want bad press to get in her head, they said. Now, if you go to Ticketmaster, there are a lot of tickets left, which is honestly just embarrassing. She should just play smaller venues or lower her ticket prices. Next up is not spending time together. Now, Ben and J-Lo have not been spotted together recently. For example, at the beginning of May, Jen attended the Met Gala all by herself. Now, this was shocking because Jen was a co-chair for the gala, but Ben was missing from the event. Now, Ben has been filming The Accountant too, and it's said that he skipped the event because of his schedule, but the night before, he was spotted at Tom Brady's roast in LA. Not to mention that J-Lo is gearing up for her tour, This Is Me Live, The Greatest Hits. Now, she'll be on the road from June 28th to August 17th, and with her being so busy with this, she won't really have that much time to spend with Ben, and it will just put more space in between the two. Not to mention, even now, she has so many rehearsals for the tour, maybe all the time apart will be negative and will really result in them getting a divorce. And finally, we have their fights. Now, a lot of the pair's fights have been caught on camera, and it's been awkward. Ben found himself at the center of attention after he was shown looking bored and miserable while he and Jen attended the Grammys. The pair went viral once again after the cameras caught them having yet another tense-looking exchange. In the clip, Ben could be seen leaning in to whisper in Jen's ear, only for her to turn her head suddenly and sternly say something to him. She then puts her hand to her chest and looks to tell Ben to sit up as he immediately adjusts his posture. Fans on Twitter had a field day guessing about what the husband and the wife duo could have possibly been fighting about, with people speculating that Ben's unusual behavior on the night may have been because he was drinking.
So there are multiple reports that claim that Ben and Jen are living apart, and this has been confirmed by multiple sources and in multiple outlets. So for starters, TMZ reported on May 16th that Ben has been staying at a Brentwood home all by himself. Like, I get wanting space to focus when you're on a job, and he is currently working on a movie, but the timing's kind of iffy. This was confirmed by US Weekly later that same day, and then on May 19th, an Entertainment Tonight source claimed they have been staying in separate homes and the tension has been high. So Jen, mother of 2, was seen house hunting in Beverly Hills without Ben, and instead with some gal pals. And anyone who has been through a breakup knows that you really need your girls for support and clear decision making when big bad things happen. The source said he's been focusing on his work and his kids now. Ben has already moved out and they'll likely have to sell the dream house they spent 2 years searching for. Now, it's only been like a year since the duo bought this $60.85 million, 460,000 square foot, mansion that they currently own. The home is referred to as the Wallingford Estate, and it sits on a 5-acre property and boasts 12 bedrooms, 24 bathrooms. That's a lot of real estate to get rid of. So insiders have been claiming that these guys are on 2 different pages. Sources are remaining cryptic about why, were having some marriage problems. In Touch's insider claims that Bennifer said they'd matured and learned from their mistakes, but some of the bigger issues that tore them apart the first time remain the same. Now, this insider also claims the couple has never stopped loving each other, but she can't control him and he can't change her. So the writing is on the wall. It's over. They're headed for a divorce, and for once, Ben's not to blame. If you're wondering what I meant there, I'll elaborate. So back when he broke up with Jennifer Garner, he was on the Howard Stern show, and he said despite our mutual respect for one another, our marriage didn't work. And we tried for a period of time to stay together for the kids. And he's like, and you know what? We probably would have ended up at each other's throats. I'd probably still be drinking, which is, well, part of why I started drinking booze, because I was trapped. Now, he did backtrack. He went, he was like, okay, I didn't mean it towards her, but look, Nowadays, he's become a little more guarded after that misquote because, well, his comments were a little misconstrued. He's like, the point I was trying to make was a sad one. Look, obviously, everyone took all these exclusive reports with a grain of salt. In Touch is the type of gossip rag that reported Jennifer Aniston was pregnant every other week for nearly 20 years. And their anonymous sources aren't exactly, reliable. But then when we've got the other outlets hopping on the bandwagon, So meanwhile, US Weekly spoke to someone who said, these guys started having issues a few months ago when Jen was ramping up work commitments and prepping for her tour because she's very focused on work. And once again, 2 different pages. Also, the same source told People, these guys didn't spend Mother's Day together. Yikes. So, Jennifer liked to post on Instagram about unhealthy relationships. It was a March 19th post, and it was from relationship coach Lena Marsak, and this went viral. The post in question reads, "You cannot build a healthy relationship with somebody who lacks integrity and emotional safety, doesn't respect your time, doesn't think it's important to call or text back in a respectable time frame, lacks effective communication skills, and doesn't know who they are or what they want." The caption added, you can't do that. We can't expect someone to see us when we can't even see themselves. Getting in a relationship is the easy part. Nurturing and fostering it is a different story. After all, love is not a feeling, it's an action. So fans have pointed out that the pair have been spending a lot of time apart lately and attending events without each other. For example, Jen was pictured stepping out without Ben recently. She was seen in a casual sporty look as she arrived at a dance studio in LA, and she was with her crew, but no sign of her husband. She was also solo for her co-chairing duties at the glitzy Met Gala in New York on May 6th, with a lot of folks surprised that Ben skipped the event. Now, Ben is working right now on The Accountant too, but his sources are yeah, no, I'm not here for it anymore. Now, he was on his own while appearing at the roast of Tom Brady on May 5th, which was the night before, which kind of cancels out the too busy for the Met Gala excuse. If you're working up a storm, why are you going to this social event instead? So, during their last outing together, the pair appeared kind of strained, with neither cracking a smile as they grabbed lunch together. They've also appeared tense during other previous outings, including when they were embroiled in quite the heated discussion during their St. Bart's getaway. Just months earlier, before that, in September, Jennifer was seen looking very, very tense as she sat in the passenger seat car next to Ben as they were just driving around LA together. Now, the two had previously raised eyebrows when they were seen attending the premiere of Jen's film The Mother. In an awkward moment while posing on the red carpet, she had a frown on her face and she was gesturing at him. And Ben looked really angry, and a lip reader later clarified it was maybe not an argument. Now, after they were snapped having their apparently very tense conversation, they soon reverted to Hollywood mode with beaming grins, stage-worthy kisses, ooh la la. Now, going back to that lip reader, apparently Jen asked Ben if her low-cut top was too much, and he was like, yeah, you look fine, sweetie. Now, later that night when the couple managed to find their right pose, he asked her to get a little closer, and he's like, oh, don't worry, babe. And apparently she responded saying come close to me. So I don't know, it just seems all a little put on. So Jennifer's decision to release her Amazon Prime documentary, The Greatest Love Story Never Told, which chronicled her love story with Ben, kind of put a strain on the marriage. The Candid Show was the third part of her very public $20 million tribute to Ben, which also consisted of This Is Me Now, a love story, which was a semi-autobiographical musical rom-com action sci-fi film, and the single, This Is Me Now. And a source said Ben would never try to stifle Jennifer's dreams or tell her she can't do something that advances her career, but she can be kind of controlling of him. So all of this media stuff detailed the highs and lows of this rekindled romance. And this was a documentary, with Ben revealing that he initially asked his wife to keep their relationship offline when they decided to give things another go. While navigating their reconciliation, 2 decades following the first engagement, Ben was I have zero interest in becoming a fixture on your social media accounts. Getting back together, I said, listen, one of the things I don't want is a relationship on social media. This was a direct quote from Ben. Then I sort of realized it's not a fair thing to ask. It's sort of like, you're gonna marry a boat captain, and then you go, well, I don't like the water. He continued on to say, we're just two different people with different kinds of approaches trying to learn to compromise. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a compromise. On top of this, Ben did not want his love letters to Jennifer being made public in this new film, but insiders have claimed it wasn't because he kept them a secret from his ex-wife. Now, Jennifer Garner's fans were really ticked when, Ben revealed he clung onto his correspondence with J.Lo during his 13-year marriage to Garner, and later had the letters and emails bound into a book to gift to Jenny when they reunited in 2021. Which, so cute, so romantic. But insiders have quashed any notion that the admission shocked Jennifer Garner, insisting she's happy for them, and she's friends with them, and she's also at peace in her relationship with John Miller. Ben would love for the outside world not to know about his love letters, but he is a romantic, and as much as he loved Jennifer, he never got over J.Lo. This is according to a source that told DailyMail.com. Ben likes to keep his memories, whether it be from movies he worked on or family and relationship moments. He always has what the kids call receipts. Now, this insider continued by saying, no one is surprised by this at all. Jennifer is okay with it, J.Lo obviously loves it, and everyone notices that this was all meant to be. But it doesn't mean he wanted it out in the public. So another insider source claimed that they've known Ben for more than 10 years, and apparently everything is a fight for him and Jen. The only satisfaction he gets in life is overcoming when the odds are stacked against him. And now that these guys are reunited, the ego battle between Ben and J.Lo was always on full display, and is only eclipsed by the obvious passion and respect they have for one another. But there has to be an easier path, and you have to ask yourself why they want their marriage to be this way in the first place. I'm guessing for publicity, and in J.Lo's case, to promote her new work based on their love story. I have a feeling the moment this new tour cycle ends, so will the marriage. Publicly. Alright, here's another thing. Deja vu. So J.Lo said, Ben and I, we broke up 3 days before our wedding. We had this whole big thing planned, 14 ushers, multiple bridesmaids, and 3 days before, we just crumbled under the pressure. Ben himself has mentioned that the reason behind the breakup was just the massive amount of scrutiny around their private life. He also said he told his wife when they got back together, once again, I don't want this on social media. But then he's like, well, I guess I'll compromise, it can be on social media. And now J.Lo has this whole media cycle that is just about the relationship. He's like, look, we're just two people with different kind of approaches, trying to learn to compromise. Well, folks, with the rise of social media, public scrutiny is a lot worse now than it was back in the early 2000s. Just saying. And finally, sources and insiders have been non-stop dishing about all of the stuff with Ben and J.Lo. And the latest from Page 6 is kind of a lot, which is why I left it till the end. So the outlet spoke to someone connected to Ben, who noted that if there was a way to divorce on grounds of temporary insanity, he would. He feels like the last 2 years was just a fever dream, and he's come to his senses now and understands there is just no way this is going to work. All that being said, Ben continues to be seen without his engagement ring and was noticeably absent from the premiere of Jennifer's new movie Atlas on Monday night. And J.Lo, however, did name drop him in an interview that same evening, telling Jimmy Kimmel that when she met Barbra Streisand, the legendary singer was asking me to look at my engagement ring at the time that Ben had given me years ago. Which, okay, cute and all, but
Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez have had an on-again, off-again relationship, and it's always been filled with drama. And it appears though that it might be the end of the road for this couple right now. So here's everything we know about the couple. Now, Jennifer and Ben first met on the set of the 2003 rom-com Geely. At the time, J.Lo was still married to her second husband, dancer Chris Judd. J.Lo and Ben then went public with their relationship soon after her divorce from Chris. In November 2002, J.Lo confirmed that they were engaged in an interview with Diane Sawyer. "It's the most magnificent thing I've ever seen," she said of the 6.1 carat pink diamond from Harry Winston that Ben gave her. Now, the ring reportedly cost him $2.5 million. Then in September 2003, they posted their wedding. Yep, 2 days before the two were set to officially tie the knot, they released a joint statement announcing the ceremony being postponed. They said, "Due to the excessive media attention surrounding our wedding, we have decided to postpone the date. When we found ourselves seriously contemplating hiring 3 separate decoy brides at 3 different locations, we realized that something was awry. We began to feel that the spirit of what should have been the happiest day of our lives could be compromised. We felt what should have been a joyful and sacred day could be spoiled for us, our families, and our friends. Then on January 22, 2004, the two ended their engagement. J.Lo confirmed the sad news through her spokesperson, saying, "I am confirming the report that Jennifer Lopez has ended her engagement to Ben Affleck," the statement said at the time, per MTV. "At this difficult time, we ask you respect her privacy." Jen then moved on, and in June of 2004, she married singer-songwriter and longtime friend Mark Anthony. Now the two welcomed twins in 2008, but they separated in 2014. Ben also moved on, and he married Jennifer Garner in 2005. Now the new Hollywood couple welcomed their 3 children together, but they got divorced in 2018. Then they had other relationships as well, but after J.Lo ended her engagement to Alex Rodriguez and Ben split from Ana de Armas, the two were spotted hanging out again in 2021. Page 6 reported on April 30th that Ben was photographed visiting Jen's Los Angeles home multiple times. Security picks him up at a nearby location and drops him off after spending a few hours at her house, said a source, who insisted on the platonic nature of Ben's visits. "They are friends," the insider said. "They've never not been." But that wasn't exactly the case, as Ben and Jen then started hanging out more frequently and began dating again. In April 2022, in an exclusive video published in her personal fan newsletter, J.Lo announced that she and Ben had gotten engaged again a year after reuniting. She revealed that Ben proposed to her for a second time while she was taking a bubble bath. "Did you ever imagine your biggest dream would come true?" she wrote. "Saturday night while at my favorite place on earth, in the bubble bath, my beautiful love got on one knee and proposed. I was taken totally off guard and just looked in his eyes, smiling and crying at the same time, trying hard to get my head around the fact that after 20 years this was happening all over again. I was quite literally speechless, and he said, 'Is that a yes?' I said, 'Yes, of course that's a yes.'" Then in July 2022, the pair tied the knot in a surprise Las Vegas wedding at midnight on July 17th. The singer confirmed the news on her newsletter on the J.Lo, saying that the low-key ceremony in a chapel was exactly what the two wanted. Then, ahead of the release of her forthcoming album, This Is Me Now, in November 2022, and in honor of the 20th anniversary of her third studio album, This Is Me Then, Jen sat down with Zane Lowe for Apple Music to talk about her latest musical venture. Now during the conversation, she opened up about how Ben inspired her to get into the recording studio in both instances 20 years ago and now. But with all this love, there have been fights and somewhat of a betrayal. Jennifer launched her new album, This Is Me Now, with a self-financed $20 million multimedia campaign. Then she made the experimental film, This Is Me Now, a love story about the rekindling of her romance with Ben. And then there was her Amazon Prime documentary, The Greatest Love Story Never Told, about the making of the record and the film. Now when Ben pops up in the doc, it's often to express concern that his private love story is becoming used for something he didn't particularly want. Now the doc is actually named after a scrapbook that Ben gifted Jennifer for Christmas in 2021, stacked with every letter and email they'd written to each other over the last 20 years. Now Jennifer showed the book to her producers and songwriters on the first day of making her new album without asking or telling Ben. "It became like our Bible," she says in the doc. "We just left it in the studio." Now this revelation comes within the first 5 minutes of the doc, and right out of the gate, Ben isn't shy about his discomfort. He's shocked that Jennifer would share something so personal with her collaborators, and now of course with the world. Then Jen and Ben have been spotted fighting multiple times from paparazzi that were caught on camera. Now they're deemed Hollywood's most bad-tempered couple. In September 2023, Jennifer was seen looking very tense as she sat in the passenger seat of a car alongside Ben as they drove around Los Angeles. Now it came after Ben and Jennifer were caught seemingly having another tense interaction as they drove through Beverly Hills back in May. Now the couple were driving when they stopped at a red light and engaged in a heated conversation in photos taken by a European tourist. Now the tourist, who witnessed the exchange after pulling up next to their car, told DailyMail.com that it seemed pretty clear by by his body language that Ben was frustrated or irritated, while Jennifer appeared timid. There were lots of hand gestures, Ben was waving his hands up and down, and it looked heated, she said. J-Lo looked a little bit sad. In another tense public sighting, Ben was seen walking in front of Jennifer to their Mercedes while holding an iced coffee. He opened the door for his wife, who sat in the passenger seat, and he then shut the door firmly by dramatically swinging his arm before walking over to the driver's seat. The two had previously raised eyebrows when they were seen attending the premiere of Jennifer's film, The Mother, in LA. Now, in an awkward moment while posing on the red carpet, Jennifer had a frown on her face and was gesturing at her husband. Now, most recently, there have been a lot of rumors of divorce between the two. It appears that Ben has moved out of his house with J-Lo. Ben has been staying at a Brentwood house by himself, and it's been suggested that Ben already moved out of their marital home in Beverly Hills. Now, Jen was house hunting earlier last week, where she was with her longtime producing partner. But with rumors of divorce, is she looking for a new house for herself? Now, this is just crazy because Bennifer just bought a massive estate last year. J-Lo then added to the divorce rumors as she liked to post that raised some eyebrows. Now, the post in question reads, "You cannot build a healthy relationship with somebody who, among other things, lacks integrity and emotional safety, doesn't respect your time, doesn't think it's important to call text back in a respectable time frame, lacks effective communication skills, and doesn't know who they are or what they want." This post came amid an Us Weekly source confirming that while Jen and Ben are working on things, they're having issues in their marriage. Now, the insider added that the issues began a few months ago as Jen had started ramping up work commitments and prepping for her tour. Now, reports of Bennifer's potential split were first reported by the tabloid In Touch, who spoke to an anonymous source who claimed the writing is on the wall, it's over. They're headed for a divorce, and for once, Ben's not to blame. Now, according to In Touch, the pair are also in couples therapy. Ben believes in therapy to a point and is willing to be a good sport about participating with an open mind, even though he hates the whole humiliating process, an insider told the outlet. He's never going to gauge the success of this marriage by what happens in the therapist's office. He also has a higher tolerance for conflict and having to fight to get his way than the average guy, they said. Now, earlier this month, a source exclusively told Life in Style that the pop star had been trying to persuade Ben to have a baby via surrogate. Now, maybe this is why there's some space between them. I mean, forcing someone to have a baby isn't the best thing to do, and who knows, maybe all this baby talk has stressed him out so much that he needed some space. Now, another reason why Ben might be leaving her is because she's always been rumored to be a mean girl. I mean, you'd think being worth $400 million, you'd want to help people as much as you can, and pay them well, but that's not the case for J-Lo. Now, according to several of J-Lo's former staff members, Jennifer earned herself the nickname Paylo because she paid her staff around 50% less than they can make elsewhere. This rumor has been going on for years. As you see, way back in 2003, Jennifer was spotted in Vegas with Ben. Now, the pair had a big win, and Ben decided to drop a $2,000 tip to the dealer. But before the dealer could scoop the generous reward, J-Lo snatched up the cash and swapped it for $200 instead. Now, Jennifer's reason for paying her staff so little: she had to work hard to earn her money, so everyone else should too. Then she also has some crazy demands. In 2002, Jennifer starred in the romantic comedy Made in Manhattan, and she went all over the world promoting the romantic comedy, and when she landed in London, she had people talking about her demands. When promoting the movie, she had a very interesting encounter with hotel staff. Now, the hotel staff was amazed by her lavish and extravagant demands, as it was something that they'd never seen before. Apparently, she requested the hotel staff to provide her with thousands of pounds of lemon-scented candles. Not to mention, she only travels in style when it's a short distance. She had 7 limousines escort her to lunch at the Dorchester, only 200 yards away. And then in 2012, it was reported that she had a maid fired from her job, although she reportedly denies it. Now, Jennifer was staying at the Melia Dusseldorf in Germany, and a maid working at the hotel, Prey Doja, approached the diva's room to get an autograph. She spoke with J-Lo's assistant, who denied her, and the next morning, Prey was fired. And reportedly, when flying first class, she doesn't like anyone to bother her, even a flight attendant. One time, a flight attendant offered her a drink, and she refused to acknowledge him. She said to her assistant, "Please tell him I'd like a Diet Coke and lime." Now this rumor also hasn't been confirmed, but it does reinforce her diva image, and it seems like she doesn't appreciate the help that she gets. Then there's the rumors that she had some pretty strict relationship rules. In 2017, she made headlines again when news broke that she was dating former New York Yankee Alex Rodriguez. The rumor spread that J-Lo would only consider marrying A-Rod if he agreed to a list of demands. Reportedly, he was not allowed to talk to any women under the age of 40, which is just super controlling and gross. Additionally, J-Lo loved his physique and wanted a guarantee that he wouldn't let himself go once they got married. Now, none of these rumors have actually been confirmed, but it does seem pretty realistic to me, and I'm sure she's tried to impose these rules or some variation of them on Ben, which he probably doesn't like.